Okay, I have a 2012 Ford Focus here. We're going to be working on replacing this starter today. The one I got on here is just not working at all. It's seized up. And I have a replacement off of another vehicle that I'm hoping is going to work out real well. And this here will give you an idea. Now this was a better looking wire and everything that's on mine, but this will give you an idea of what you're going to be looking at when you get in there. So basically this is flipped around this way, sitting on the vehicle, and what we have to do, there's going to be some studded bolts. We got a couple of 10 millimeters on this bracket in there that are holding, this just holds this wire harness and connector here. There's a clip, it's going around a coolant hose there that you have to unclip. But basically the first thing that you want to do is come in here and remove these 10 millimeters on the top and the bottom. This will move, revealing the studded bolts. You're going to take a 13 millimeter and remove those top and bottom bolts, and then this will be loose. Now the next thing, once you get it loose, you can usually pull it down enough to where you can easily access these right here. And you can see we've got another 10 and another 13. So a 10 and a 13, same way with the bracket, a 10 and a 13. And once you get this 10 and 13 loose, this will slip right off of here and you can pull the starter down. Now this connects over to the alternator, and this connects up top to a spot there by the battery box, and that's how I removed this from the other car, because I wanted this whole harness. So you could do it that way too, but it's kind of tricky getting to this one on the alternator there, so it's just as easy to go ahead and remove these here. So we're going to go ahead and get started. You'll notice I got it up on ramps here. We're going to be working from underneath, but the first thing I want to do is get in here and disconnect the negative. If you got a battery minder, you could put that in there to save your computer presets. Sometimes you'll have some issues with idling. It'll have to relearn that if you don't put the battery minder in there. Okay, so I got my negative off, 10 millimeter, wiggle that up and off there. I pulled it way over here, out of the way, from over there. So that's all you'll have to do there, and you can get that disconnected unless you want to put the battery minder on, but I'm not going to worry about that. And we're going to go ahead and come under the center of the car here next. Okay, I've got a deep socket because these are studded. We're just coming up under the center. Now, another thing that you'll have is a piece of plastic here. Mine's been removed. I believe they're Torx, and you'll need to remove that out of your way. I believe it wraps back here. Mine was ripped off, so I can't really tell you exactly. I know that there are Torx holding this plastic piece through here, so you'll need to remove them and get that piece out of the way so you can see something. So anyway, you look up here now, we can see the back of that starter. Now you could, if you want, go ahead and remove that 10 and that 13 and slip that off. It's up to you, but I'm going to start with the bracket, and you can see, just like I showed you on the other one, there's a 10 millimeter right there, and there's one on that top too. So I'm going to reach up in here with this, and we're just going to get a hold of that. We're going to have to unclip this right here and move that hose out of our way a little bit, and we'll probably go ahead and unclip this wire too. Just press down on that and disconnect that. And let's see, it's wanting to stick on me here, but anyways, we'll get that out of there. I'm gonna have to, there we go. Okay, so there's that one. Just push down on that little flap right there and just pull and it comes right off. So we got that disconnected and out of the way. We got the hose here out of the way, and we'll come up here with our ratchet, maybe, and we're gonna get a hold. I'm just kind of coming through where that clip was there, and these are not real tight, but now the studded ones underneath are going to be quite a bit tighter there. So I'm going to go ahead and take that bottom one loose there. Okay, so there's the first 10 millimeter, and we just got to get up above this here and get to that top one. I can't really show you that one because it's cramped up in here, but I showed you on, there's just one right up above on the other side of this starter. So we're going to do the same thing on the top, but I got to reach up and above these wires and stuff to get to it here. Okay, for this top one I put a little extension on there, and you kind of have to go by feel. You can reach your hand slightly up above the starter there to feel that it's going on that stud, and then start taking it. And once it's loose, you can just get up there, remove the ratchet, and get on the extension with your fingers and just finish spinning it off. It's going to be more difficult putting it back than it is removing it. Okay, and there's my top one. I just kind of reached up there and grabbed it. So we got the 10 millimeters holding the bracket. So now we just need to kind of push this bracket back off a little bit. And I think these here don't appear to be too difficult to get to. I think we're going to go ahead and just remove these right here, because it's going to give me more slack with this bracket being in the way. Give me just a second. Okay, I figured out that wasn't going to work. This old one, the nuts actually seized up. So we're going to go ahead and get our 13 and get on this studded. I just kind of twisted the bracket down here out of the way. We're going to get on the 13 studded one, and then we're going to go ahead and go up top and get on that one up top. And so we just kind of feel, kind of bring my hand up through here and kind of guide the socket on a little bit, and then go to taking it loose. But it's really not that much to it. And there's a lot of room here. It's just kind of tricky to get to that top part with the limited clearance there. Okay, so we're just going ahead and removing this bottom studded bolt here, and then we'll get on that top one, and this will actually drop down. But you kind of get the idea of what I'm doing here, and I would probably suggest putting a little WD-40. I don't know if yours will be seized up like that one. I'm not using this old wire or starter. I'm just kind of doing this for demonstration purposes. But mine is completely seized up, so I doubt that I'm going to get those off at all, and I'm going to be having to remove it over here at the alternator. And you can see where this wire runs right up through here at the top of this alternator. That's where I'm going to have to get it loose to replace that. But I actually didn't know that these were seized up before. Anyways, I'm getting ready. I'm taking my 13. I'm going to put my little extension back on there. So we got the bottom one out. And that's all that is. And we're going to go ahead and take that top one out, and then this thing will be loose. This is my extension I'm using for the top, by the way. It's like a 2.5 inch extension with the deep 13 millimeter. Okay, and you can see where my ratchet extension's located up there. And I want to tell you, I mean, it's not real pleasant getting to this top one, but you know, unless you want to take out some more stuff, this is how it's got to be done. Okay, so just reached up there and got that top one out, and now we got it loose. It's sitting on some little kind of locating pins, so you kind of got to pull it back a little bit, but it should wiggle loose here. We'll see. It's not wanting to. All right, there, finally came off there. All right, so I got that one little clip disconnected there, and I've got an oil sensor here. Trying to maneuver around. I think I may disconnect that to avoid breaking it. It's right here. Just give that a push right there on the bottom of that, and then just pull that off so that's not getting broken. Always be careful around sensors and stuff. Okay, so anyways, with it down here, you can easily get to the 13 millimeter. Now you can notice that is seized up. But at this point, you go ahead and take your 13, take that nut off, take that nut off. And then you'll just slip this off of the starter and bring your other one over and put onto here. So because I'm removing this whole wire, I'm going to be doing mine a little bit different, but that is seized up. I'm not going to get it off. But anyways, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to take this wire loose. I'll show you what I'm going to do next. Okay, it's kind of hard to show you what I'm doing here, but you can get to the top of this alternator from up here with an extension. It's pretty well impossible to show you. But I'm coming through here. Got a extension and a 13. And I basically got down there and got to the top of that, and the little nut just fell off. You can also kind of see it from over here a little bit. Right up here is the top, and that's what I was slipping. You can see this wire. Now I've just slipped that off. This was a little boot cover on the top, and that's how you take that wire off if you need to do that. There's my little 13 that fell off of there, but you can get to that from the top. So if you do have trouble and this seizes up, you want to keep from breaking it all to pieces, you would definitely need to remove it. But all you have to do is remove that and that. I think they just get overly carried away in the factory sometime with tightening those up. Now I'm going to get to this other end, because like I said, I'm replacing the whole thing. But in your case, you just go ahead and remove this, and that will come off of there. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm replacing this whole wire assembly and the bracket, because it was in better shape. So I'm going to be removing this air box. It's really simple. You just pop this stuff down, loosen up one of your bands. You've got some connectors here. They can really be a bear to disconnect. Push this back, pull that safety lock up, disconnect that, and let's double check. Okay, I think that's it. Let's just give this a lift up out of here. See, it just goes down into some rubber grommets there, hence those spots. So with that out, all I need to do is take this 13 right here, which I'm going to go ahead and do now. Okay, and with that taken off of there, that nut stays on to the cable. It just dropped down there. But at this point, we can just drag this out from under here. And now we'll take it over here to the bench. see what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can remove these here if they're completely seized up. Okay, now one of the benefits to pulling this whole assembly off here is that you can actually get an impact, get it out here and get your impact on it real good, because I got my impact wrench and it zipped those right off of there. So there is that 13 and that 10. But that's all you do under the car. If yours ain't seized up, you just take that and slip that right off there. Of course, I've got this bent a little bit. It just slips right off, and you'll slip this piece right back on to your new starter, and then just put these right back into place and snug them. Of course, you would be underneath the car. So anyways, those did come off, but this bent when I was trying to take it loose under there, so it starts feeling like it's going to move. Take it down and try an impact or something on it, because it bent it. And it looks like it's going back into place there. But anyway, that's all there is to that. You don't have to remove the whole wire like I did, but like I said, I'm replacing the whole thing. So that's all there is to it. And I've got my replacement. You can see how it's got a built-in nut on that part that I took loose on the cable. So we've got this whole assembly here put together, and we're going to go ahead and slip this just into the vehicle. Like I said, the only way you would be doing it different is just put yours in there. You'll put your 10mm and this one back on, and then slip it up and start working your studded bolts back in to the top and the bottom of your starter, and then you'll slip your bracket back over the studded bolts and put your 10mm on that. Now, I'm not for sure if this bracket is entirely necessary, but it's there, I guess, to kind of stabilize it. So I'm going to go ahead and connect mine back up here, and we'll start working it back up into place. Okay, so say you just got these back into place. We're going to go ahead and just slip that back up there on to those studded. You can see the alignment dowels that are on there. We're going to slip this right back on to that and then start us a bolt. Okay, and I'm just starting with my bottom one there because it's the easiest. And then we'll get on that difficult one, which is going to be the top one. And we have to just kind of feel for it to get it up in there, and then get our socket back onto the top there. Okay, another thing I was trying this time is just using a ratchet wrench up here on this side, just reaching back through here on the back side of the starter, and that actually seemed to work pretty well. As far as putting that top one on, I think that's easier than trying to use the ratchet with the extension. So I've already got that top one tight, and I think I'm going to do the same thing with this bracket, because it seems to be easier just to reach from back over here around with the little ratchet wrench while I'm putting this on and lining this up. So I'm just getting ready to slip the bracket back on there, and all we got to do now is just get our 10mm back on here. And like I said, I'm going to just use my little ratchet wrench, because it seems like that was working out quite a bit easier than the socket. I just hadn't tried that before. So we'll go ahead and tighten both of these 10mm. So I'm reaching around here behind this wire to get to this top side here, and that's working out pretty good, because you can reach around kind of in front of the starter and start. See, I'm threading it on there by hand, as far as I can there. And then I'm just going to get my ratchet wrench and take it on down. But this is the hardest part right here. The wires back here are on. Of course, I didn't have to remove those. So we're going to snug these down. I'll go ahead and connect up my sensor that I took loose, my oil sensor. And we'll put other stuff back where it goes. Here, and then we will have it. Remember, this connector plugs back into this right here. Okay, so I think the ratchet wrenches definitely work the best for this, so I would recommend using them because it worked way easier getting it onto the top there. Now I went ahead and slipped that cable back up over the alternator there. I've just got the nuts set on it. This cable I had over here, I'm just gonna push back up through here where it came from. It's not really a big deal. And we'll just try to get it routed back up through here about where it was at, where we've got slack. And that's all there is to that. It's pretty easy to connect that over there. But I got to get up here on the top and tighten my alternator nut back down and then put that little cap that's on it, was on it right there. Okay, in case you wanted to know, this is how I'm running that 1/4 inch extension down there, get to the top of that alternator there. It's really not that difficult to get to this way. Okay, I reattached my wire here, so everything's all hooked up. I'm just going to put my air box. I said you don't have to do this. I was only doing this because I was replacing the whole wire and everything because it was in better condition than mine. I just got the whole thing with the starter, so I'm going to go ahead and put this back on and we'll be all finished up here. Okay, and with our replacement starter on, we should come in here and crank this thing up. And there we are. So we got that working again. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, I invite you to subscribe. Thanks for watching.